What's happening, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Mini Adult Troubles. Today is the 50th episode of the show, and I have with me Pareen Lathia. He's the Assistant Vice President of Marketing at WazirX, India's largest cryptocurrency exchange. He has also built and sold a couple of startups. And today we're going to talk about cryptocurrency, its use case, and the future. Welcome to the show, Pareen. Glad to have you.
Thank you, Ayush. Glad to be on your 50th episode. Congratulations on the milestone, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So, I first of all, obviously, we're talking about cryptocurrency. So, the basic question that I want to ask you is, how would you personally explain a 5-year-old what is cryptocurrency?
Okay. So, imagine, if you're playing Monopoly,
Yeah.
simplest game possible, and there is a bank, does the bank ever go bankrupt? No. Why? Because they always have stack of money ready to be given to players at any point in time. So
Yeah.
inherently, if you see the structure, there are players and there is someone controlling the entire supply of
Correct.
money in the game, right? So if you play that game is already rigged against you as a player. What Bitcoin does is it
Mm-hmm.
removes the bank and keeps only players. So what it does is it makes your money uh, from being centralized, controlled by one authority, to being peer to peer, which means controlled by no one. Right now, Bitcoin is controlled by code, right? That's all it is. So simplest
Yeah.
way to understand.
All right. So basically, decentralized. मतलब 5-year-old won't understand the word decentralized, but right. So now switching to a 20-year-old, like for example me, why should someone like me, like a 20-year-old or maybe 30-year-old, care about cryptocurrency at the first place? What मेरे को क्या करना? How does that it change? How does it change my life?
So yeah, this problem did not exist for the previous generation. In India, the previous generation believed that you worked hard, you got a good education, you got a good job, you really did your duty as a citizen, as a member of the community, and you will have a
Yeah.
good life. People actually believed in that dream, and it
Mm.
came true for maybe some of them, not all of them, and we can see the income wealth divide in the country.
Yeah.
The reason for this wealth divide is is misunderstood as rich people make smart decisions. That's why they are rich. Poor people make poor decisions. That's why they are poor.
Mm.
That may be true to a certain factor, but even as a lower middle class or a middle class person, for someone to make it big, the game is already rigged against them. Right? These guys are players. They are not the bankers in Monopoly. Right? So that's the issue right here. For this generation, the biggest reason to pay attention is the amount of money that is being injected into the economy every year. So imagine if you are earning some money on your job or on your startup or wherever you are doing something. Now there is a portion of that that you want to save, right, for
Correct.
long term, right? And this money should not lose its purchasing power. Let's say today a financial planner will give you a nice calculation saying, okay, इसमें से 15% return निकालो, do this, do that, and then finally you will have 1 crore so many years later and stuff. What they don't tell you is that after so many years, that 1 crore will not be able to buy as much as it can buy today. And this is
Correct.
not just inflation. This is a lot of factors. So as someone who is still working, it makes so much sense to have a hedge against this. Okay? So the idea is not that you just go forget everything that is USD or INR and get
Yeah.
completely into Bitcoin. But the idea is that if you are creating an investment plan, keep certain percentage allocation for this new asset class, right? Which is going to serve as our gold. We've heard,
Mm. Mm.
grandfathers, old movies used to say gold, 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 always buy gold, never sell gold. There was a reason because the supply is always limited. No one controls gold supply. And today, for our generation, we have the digital gold where no one controls the supply. So it's like once in a generation chance to protect our purchasing power. Not worry about gains, not worry about 10x, 50x, 100x, but just to be sure that even if I'm investing 1% of my portfolio in
Yeah.
Bitcoin, okay, and I'm not saying crypto, I'm saying Bitcoin specifically. If I'm doing that, I'm taking a bet against all of this that's happening in the economy today, which is inflation. The US is under massive inflation today,
Hmm.
and that's going to happen to most countries someday.
Okay. So, can I say this, that cryptocurrency or Bitcoin is basically taking away the power from the rich and wealthy and powerful people, and giving a chance at least to the poor. Is that correct?
That that's a nice way to look at it. You can look at it that way, or you could
Uh,
just say, technology is usually a equalizer. With information today, we can hear to Harvard professors that we couldn't, let's say,
uh,
40, 50 years ago.
yeah.
It's sort of democratized. It's not like saying that the rich will lose their money. No, this creation of new wealth. In a way, it is creation of new kind of asset,
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Right.
but
So,
it is an
uh,
equalizer for sure.
yeah, an interesting question just popped in. So 2008 crisis happened, right? Bitcoin was made in 2008 after the crisis itself. If
2009,
if
yeah,
if yeah, 2009. If Bitcoin
2009.
was present at 2008 when the crisis happened, now how would things be different? What would have Bitcoin's role be in stopping the crisis?
So the problem with Bitcoin is it's super complicated to understand. From even if it was invented, let's say in 2007, 2006, first few years people just thought this is an experiment for some geeks and nerds. Oh, okay, we are sending to 10,000 Bitcoin, we are mining it on our laptop. It was just a cool thing to have. No one
Yeah.
thought, no one gave it a serious thought because it was not a startup. There was no press release saying, "Oh, Bitcoin is launched," right? So only a few people
Correct.
knew about. When it started gaining value, that's when people started noticing, oh, something is wrong. How can this, they used to call it magic internet money before. There have been
Acha.
articles saying magic internet money. So they used to be surprised, magic internet money went to $32. Wow, how is this possible? For one Bitcoin, you are getting $32.
Hmm.
And today we are seeing something else completely. So even today we are underestimating Bitcoin. Usually I've seen historically people underestimate Bitcoin.
Got it. Got it. But what is, like, why are you fascinated about Bitcoin per se? What is your objective that you want to achieve? Because I've heard you talking about Bitcoin, and I can easily say that you're very passionate towards it, right? So what's in it for you?
So, for me, I see it as a big change in the social structure that we've built today. Okay, social structure is built
Mhm.
on, let's say, something called information asymmetry, right? Today, if
Correct.
you ask even a someone who is PhD in economics and say, do you think this system works and how does this work? They've just learned one side of it, which is
Mhm.
theoretically government can control certain factors and market functions well. But historically, if we look at last, let's say, 2,000 years of history, human trade history,
Yeah.
most of such civilizations have failed. And when they fail, or when they go into some kind of a recession, then they adopt to gold, right? So for us, what this represents is a chance to adopt a very fair standard, right? This doesn't discriminate whether you are an American, whether you are an Indian, whether you are poor or rich or whatever it is. Bitcoin doesn't differentiate in that, right? There is supply is
Hmm.
clear.
Hmm.
The price is determined by global order book. There is
Hmm.
there is no hidden uh, truth in there. Today we don't know how whose bank account controls how much, right? I have hardly any visibility out there. With Bitcoin, it's not difficult to know that okay, certain people are holding a ton of Bitcoin. Everything becomes so much more traceable, and that's why it becomes so much more sort of symmetrical. It is also the first revolution where retail investors have participated before the institutional investors, right? So in
Interesting. Yeah.
sort of
Hmm.
multiple ways, we've seen that for the first time we get access to an asset class which is free for everyone, right? It's out there. Today in the US and stuff, if you want to invest in startups, it's not very easy. You have to you have to have so much money, you have to qualify as an investor, then you can participate in this big revolution. So If I'm an American citizen, I want to participate in Facebook's, fundraising, but I just can't. So these are
Hmm.
all controls that have been put on the monetary system. With Bitcoin, we are just sort of freeing all of it, and that's, for me, that's amazing. Also, from India perspective, I think if India ends up adopting Bitcoin and crypto, we will see hundreds of billions of dollars flowing in as capital, because we have so many developers who are so good at crypto that they will end up creating startups which are new unicorns. So that's, all of this combined is very exciting for me.
Hmm. Makes sense. But what I, and I'm sure a lot of people don't understand, is what do you exactly mean by a Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency based startup, other than exchanges, which is WazirX. What is a crypto startup?
Right? So you what we are moving towards is Web3. Okay, so now Bitcoin, what it has done is it has decentralized value transfer. Right, so I can transfer X amount of rupees or dollars worth of Bitcoin to you today without any
Correct.
third party middleman. Right. Similarly, apply this concept to data, right, which is what Ethereum is doing. Right, what it is saying is today, let's say when you upload this on YouTube, YouTube applies its own rules on your content, right?
Correct.
And most of the times they are not fair. Even if they are fair initially, once they grow big enough, they start controlling creators. They start, sort of
Yeah.
harvesting data. Now imagine you put this entire YouTube, which is basically a piece of code, right? It's just an
Correct.
algorithm that YouTube has developed. You put it up on Ethereum blockchain, and suddenly this becomes decentralized YouTube. This is not controlled by anyone, right? The rules may be decided by all the token holders. There are various ways of organizing these things. Now, these
Okay.
uh, applications will take over the world in maybe next 20 years or so. And every app that we look at today is going to be decentralized in some way, right? Today, I don't want to sort of, enter my medical details and have it stored on my doctor's computer, right? But we do that, right? A lot of us do have, like if I go for a test, my test results are stored on pharmacies or, you know, a database
Hmm.
somewhere,
Hmm.
locally
Hmm.
or in
Hmm.
cloud or somewhere. I don't want that to happen. What I want to do is I want to own my data. It has to be on blockchain. When your data is on blockchain, you own it. When you give permission to an app, it will be able to read it. If you want to revoke that, you can revoke it. Today, most of the times with data, we don't have the permission to revoke. They ask us, do you want to share this information? But most apps, you can't revoke, at least not completely. And it's not very transparent what
And you
they're
don't
doing
even
with
know
this
if
data.
they even deleted, even if they said.
Exactly. So we will see decentralized Twitter, we will see decentralized WhatsApp. So now this is what crypto startups are, right? So in India
Wow.
now there are
Yeah.
people building, let's say, peer-to-peer lending, right? Today, when I want to get a loan, I have to go to a bank, I have to do 100 things and then get it out, right? Instead, where is the money coming from? Money is coming from someone else. It's not the bank's money that they are giving it
Bilkul.
to me, right?
Bilkul.
You
Makes
deposit
sense.
in your savings account and I borrow. Why can't we just eliminate the bank part of it? Have a peer-to-peer lending startup. It's just a startup that has written a blockchain code. That blockchain code says, okay, Ayush can deposit
Hmm.
money at 4%
Makes sense.
and Pareen wants to borrow it at 6%. Wow, great, right? That's super transparent. And all of this happens on blockchain, so no one is involved.
Hmm.
Now apply this to every area and you will get so many crypto startups that we could actually become the Silicon Valley of the world. And we have Indian startups. I think there are about 50 odd good Indian startups building amazing products on this.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Now I get it. So I had some idea of what you just said, but with the clarity you mentioned, I can see it's like it's but then it's a threat, right? It's threat to a lot of powerful people, including banks, including the companies you just mentioned. Twitter would not want a decentralized Twitter 2.0, which is basically just reducing the value or decreasing the value of Twitter as a company. So do you agree when I say this? It's a
That
threat.
that's like saying that post office will not like email. Of course, post office will not like
Ah,
email because
right.
that's what they rely on for their business, right? If I'm
Hmm.
selling a horse card, I don't want to look at a car manufacturer and say, oh shit, this guy is going to take my business. But technology has a way of getting around these things. We've seen a lot of banks adopt and become what we've seen to be neo banks. Right today,
Correct,
we
correct.
have banks which are huge, humongous, very inefficient. Now, what is
Yeah,
happening is we have neo banks, and with neo banks, that
Fire,
entire
Bullet,
bank
and
is
all
on
these
an app.
companies.
So
Yeah.
some players from every existing industry will adopt, will change, and will sort of adopt this technology. Some of them will not adopt; they will become obsolete. Maybe we don't know, but
Makes
it's
sense.
okay. I mean, humanity keeps progressing.
You mentioned neobanks, right? It's new style of business. No, everything digital,
Bankers,
very seamless and all that. But that's not based on crypto, right? It's not based on blockchain yet. So,
not
and
yet.
neobank is the new thing, right? It's the latest thing. Where a lot of startups are,
Yes,
coming
yes,
in right now, and they are not based on crypto. So you are saying, कि अभी, I think it's not. I can't see it in the near future. इतनी जल्दी नहीं होने वाला. I think it will take 3, 4, 5 years when we see a crypto blockchain based bank, right?
definitely, definitely. I'm saying 20 years maybe. 20 years.
Oh
What we
wow.
will do is we will tokenize the world. We are very early. Yesterday, I was telling someone, we are like in 1995 of internet. All I can do is dial up.
Hmm.
There will be a router which will make a lot of noise, and then you get it started. It takes 20 minutes, and all you can do is send one email and then shut it off. There is no Facebook. There is nothing. There is no Google. But
Yeah.
uh, just looking at this technology,
So fascinating.
that future is here. You just can't
Hmm.
ignore that.
These use cases just fascinate you so much. Ki possibilities, basically possibilities of what could be done and all that.
Yeah.
Right now, people are just looking at crypto as a trading. कि पैसे बना लेंगे 25 दिन में पैसा double mindset is what is going on, and not the use cases. This really is exciting, right? So now we see a lot of cryptos. Like there's BTC, there's ETS, there's ADA, there's Polygon, there's Matic, etc., etc. There's so many cryptocurrencies out there, and more or less, I see that the newer crypto that those are being made are slightly better. They're trying to better the last one, right? But what exactly, in your opinion, मतलब इतने सारे crypto का sense क्या बन रहा है? There's more and
So,
more currencies coming in.
idea ये है कि every
Hmm.
crypto is trying to solve one use case somewhere. Like I said, P2P lending. We have
हाँ.
protocols for that. How much time before we have, let's say, P2P insurance. And I'm sure people are working on various other aspects. And this is something that I'm just saying from finance perspective. Then there are NFTs,
Hmm.
there are various use cases, okay, of tokenization that will come up. Uh, the thing to understand is just because it's a new crypto doesn't mean it's fancy, right? It's better than something else.
Yeah.
That's like saying कि यार मेरा search engine best है, now this is better than Google, take it. That's not true. Google has so much established value, right? So
Hmm.
mostly when you say better कर रहे हैं, people refer to Bitcoin and Ethereum killers. Okay, so every bull season we see some projects who come out and claim we will build a better Bitcoin or
Yeah.
we will build a better Ethereum.
Shiba killer, Doge
Uh,
killer, Ethereum killer. Correct, correct. Yeah.
हाँ, so वो नहीं होता है generally. The network effects work. Okay, in tech
Hmm.
generally the number one player takes about 70% of market share. Look at Facebook in social. Look at Apple in hardware. Look at Google in search. Right? They take it. Okay, first
Tesla.
वाला
Yeah.
वो होता ही है. And
Hmm.
the second guy may try harder, may have like some small tweaks here and there, but it's not going to work out. Primarily because there is nothing as decentralized as Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's biggest advantage is we do not know who the inventor is. That's the biggest advantage, which probably will never happen in any other uh, crypto project.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. But why do you
when
say
people
that?
say better hai, it's there's no incentive, right? If I invent a new coin, why won't I want to be seen publicly as a founder today? Why not, right? I can make 10, 20, $30 million. Today, Indian startups are raising couple of $1 million like it's a joke. Crypto
Uh,
startups are raising money like that. It's flushed with funds. The industry is flushed with funds. So I could I could
Yeah.
be the saint and say, "ठीक है यार, I will not claim today." But what's the guarantee that someday I won't come up with saying, "Hey, मेरे पास तो 1 million coin है already मेरे. If I launch Pareen coin, मेरे पास है and I dump it on everyone." Right? So that risk is the biggest risk. Right?
Yeah.
This is the biggest risk. We've seen this happen in Litecoin. Litecoin's founder did this. He sold right at the top, and he sold all. He said, "I don't own any Litecoin anymore." And imagine like followers were thinking, Litecoin is the next Bitcoin. And the founder says, "I've sold all my tokens. I still believe in the project, but I've sold all my tokens." What shit, man. This will
Hmm.
never happen with Bitcoin.
Makes sense. Makes sense. But personally, because I've heard your Twitter Spaces session, I know that you are not a big admirers of shit coins. But what what
Definitely.
what uh, what are you personally fascinated by? Bitcoin, ETS, Matic. What exactly are you fascinated
So definitely, see, there are quite a few amazing projects.
by?
What I look for is who is building the product. That's important. In a founder, if you are in in crypto, you would be surprised how many projects don't have products at all. They're just
Okay.
coins. There is no product, which is pretty crazy. Like you can launch a coin in a day. There is
Dogecoin,
no,
shitcoin. No
yeah, any,
purpose.
not this Dogecoin. Dogecoin is an announced meme coin. I don't consider Dogecoin to be shitcoin because the founder is very clear that I don't care. This is just a joke.
Uh,
You guys are stupid to trade in it.
yeah.
But there are legitimate coins who will try to say, okay, I am doing this, but there is no product. Uh,
Correct.
what I what I look for is coins like it. Of course, definitely Ethereum is a great contender, no doubt about that.
Hmm.
Matic definitely is doing phenomenal work because without Matic, Ethereum is very difficult to scale. Then there are projects like Decentraland. Decentraland is an entire VR universe functioning where you can go and buy land in real world United States in that virtual world and trade. You can build a casino in that land. There are other VR players who can come and play with you. You can sell your merchandise out there. You can have a brand store. So that's the first real VR play on blockchain, right? Which is crazy, which is madness. So that I'm not saying go and buy these projects, okay? So don't go and buy
Yeah.
the
Disclaimer.
coins and say, "Yaar, ha." So this is not financial advice, but from a product perspective, you can experience that this is the future, no doubt about that, because it's a free market. Today, most
Hmm.
VR worlds are controlled, right? If I have created a VR world, there is some company controlling it. With Decentraland, this is the first time that we are experiencing a decentralized VR world, which
Hmm.
is phenomenal. There are quite a few other products that are doing stuff like that. There are NFT marketplaces doing amazing work. And there are file coins which are trying to create a decentralized Dropbox, right?
Hmm.
All of these use cases are still at a promise level. Okay, not that they will be able to create something, but it's a promise. Okay, that
Yeah.
I want
Very
to do
early
this.
days.
I am dedicated to doing this. Yeah, because Ethereum is not scaling. Right? How can I create the next Twitter if Ethereum takes $5 to $40 for a single transaction? So these infrastructure projects have to scale first, right? And crucial infrastructure is still being built. It's not
Yeah.
like it exists. With internet, we take everything for granted, like it's there, okay? But that's not how it is with crypto. There are too many challenges now. But in like 5, 10 years, all of this will be solved.
Hmm. Makes sense. You just mentioned 5 to 10 years this will be solved. So in 2025 or maybe 2030, how do you see the world in terms of application of crypto in our day-to-day life, right? Right now we are just ideation stage ki हाँ Twitter का crypto yeah etc. And more or less people are just using it as a trading ki हाँ trade करते हैं and all that. Let's invest. It's the future. But 2025 में do you think day-to-day में use हो रहा होगा? If yes, then how exactly?
So I think what we are moving towards is one is definitely dApps, which is decentralized apps. Second wave is towards tokenizing the entire world. What we will see definitely by 2030 is most of our assets, whether it's a house or whether it's a car or phone or on anything, will be tokenized. What it means is the ownership will be proved by a token on my phone. If I want to
Correct.
sell you my car today, I don't have to go to an
I'll transfer the
RTO and do
token.
100 things. Exactly. I'll just transfer the token. It will be an NFT. It will belong to you then. And
Wow.
you pay me in whatever is maybe
Bitcoin.
digital INR or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bitcoin maybe. But that's the world that we are
Nice.
moving towards. So it's going to affect everyone in the future.
Hmm. This is the NFT point you made, right? So, for the viewer's perspective, what exactly is a non-fungible token? Again, in 5 year, 10 year old language.
I don't know 5 year, 10 year old. I have to practice this man. But as a 20-year-old, it's a
Sure,
little
sure.
easier. Today
Yeah.
when I give you 10 rupee note and you have
Huh.
a 10 rupee note, both of them are equal in value. Your note may be red, my note may be green, whatever, it doesn't matter. But 10 rupee note is 10 rupee, which means it is fungible, like it's exchangeable. It doesn't lose value. But let's say your car and my car may be the same model, same color, same year, same make, everything might be same, but it's still your car and my car, right? Because there's an identity attached with each,
Yeah.
each of these unique batches,
Unique.
right? So when you look at tokens today, your Bitcoin and my Bitcoin is the same. It doesn't matter, what Bitcoin you hold, as long as it's the same amount.
Hmm.
But let's say if I give you an NFT token, which is a non-fungible token, means it is unique. Uh, what you hold represents a particular asset,
Correct.
which could be, let's say, a digital art, or it could be a song,
Yeah.
it could be a movie, or it could be a real life asset as well.
Right. So, this podcast that we're recording can be an NFT. That right can be either mine or your or both of us, something like that. Correct.
Definitely.
And but why? How do I put this? How is this valuable? Like, for example, this I'll put on YouTube. Correct. So in a way, YouTube and I co-own it. Right. YouTube has also access to this, and I have
Yep.
the rights and etc. etc.
Yep.
Now, if that is an NFT, this I convert this video into NFT, put it in on blockchain, etc. etc. Then how will it? I'm not able to
So,
put it
uh,
correctly, but I
yeah,
hope you got
got
it.
it, got it. I got your question. So
Yeah.
let's say from traditional perspective, what you will do is you will take your content, whether it is
Yeah.
video or whatever is the platform. For you, it's YouTube. You will put it up on YouTube. So you're subject to YouTube's rules first. You're subject to YouTube's economics. They'll say, okay, these many impressions, this is the money that you get, although the customer pays something completely different, which you have no access to, right?
Correct.
So this is what I mean when I say centralized, opaque
Correct.
entities, very opaque
Very good.
entities. From your side, you just don't have so much visibility.
Nice.
You take
Yeah.
whatever they pay you, right? But let's say you take this episode and now you say, I'm going to make an NFT out of this and upload it to an NFT marketplace. Like there are OpenSea, a lot of marketplaces exist these days.
WazirX NFT.
You
Yeah.
can upload it there, yeah,
Mm.
and say, okay, let me say whoever is willing to pay, let's say, X token, 5 rupees worth of token, gets to view it. That's it. So what happens here is you are setting the price. You are deciding what the terms are. And let's say someone buys your episode or rents your episode, like people do on YouTube, right? Sometimes I can rent a movie, I can buy a movie. Let's say if I buy a particular episode that you have listed and then I resell it, you can get a certain percent of royalty in every sale. And the buyer at the end, let's say the 10th buyer, can see the entire chain leading back up to you, so they know that this is authentic. What I'm getting, it's
Oh,
not some fake. So that's proof of ownership,
nice. Yeah.
proof of chain of ownership. And then what happens is you still control the rules. You say, okay, whatever sale comes, 10% royalty. You can say, okay, I want to sell this episode for 100 rupees. You can say, I want to sell this episode for 1 rupee, or I want to list it for free, whatever, or it's an auction. So all of these options open up for you, and you see exactly what the customer is willing to pay for this, right? Uh, with this is a very, very nascent model. In this, there is no advertising and monetization options as of now,
Mm.
because it's still being built.
Wow.
But
Wow. Wow.
later on, when advertisers come into play, they can directly connect with you and say, hey, I will put this ad here. This is what my customers are paying me. You can see it on the blockchain here, and this is what I'm paying you. Amazing, right? You would love to work with someone who is as transparent as that instead of YouTube, like big brand that you can't call and talk
Mm.
to. So
Mm.
that's the magic. of decentralization. When you apply it to any facet of our life, uh, more I get into crypto, more I realize how much of our lives are controlled in every
Mhm.
way. We just don't have much visibility in terms of our day-to-day lives. What are we
Yeah.
eating? Where are we getting these food from? Where is the raw material from? So all of the supply chain elements will be on blockchain one day. So when I pick up a package from my refrigerator, I can see, okay, this milk was from this particular cow in this village. It traveled here and then it traveled here and then it came to me. And all of it is on blockchain. That is the kind of
Oh.
transparency that we are talking about.
This is fascinating
Fascinating,
for
right?
sure. Yeah, it completely disrupts तो छोटा word लग रहा है इसके सामने. It just changes everything from end to end. And now I get the reference to the 1995 वाला, कि अभी हम 1995 में. So my interesting question that I have in my mind is, this is very tech driven, right? बहुत ज़्यादा tech driven है, and also there's a lot to discover, experiment, code, and discover. How can someone, like anybody interested in crypto, uh, contribute directly, actively, if he has no clue, if he has no idea of coding at all? वो
So
क्या कर
that
सकता है?
see, I'm not a coder, right? I
Yeah,
understand tech like from
yeah,
a functional perspective.
yeah.
Not I can't write distributed apps, but I realize that the biggest dearth in crypto industry is of marketers, writers, content creators. There's
The
not
biggest?
enough of them. Biggest dearth, right? Biggest gap,
Okay,
so to
okay.
speak,
Yeah.
is of non-tech people in crypto industry. I
Oh,
can't
really?
go and find 10 great marketers today. I can't go and find really great writers who first understand the technology themselves and then can also explain it to people. This is a big gap in the market for non-tech people specifically. I've seen non-tech people start crypto startups because they understand that there is a use case. See, hiring a developer and getting coding done is not that difficult, or finding a tech co-founder is not that difficult. You need to know that you want to participate in this revolution. When you want to participate in this in a particular way, go ahead and raise funds. There is just too much fundraising happening in the crypto industry today, right? The amount of trading is separate, but as a crypto startup, if you are solving a problem that you really care about, the industry is flush with funds. The good part about here is that you do not have to wait for some angel investor to say, okay, I will approve and then we'll see, give me 3 years projections and stuff like that. No, crypto industry is cutting edge of everything. So you can say, okay, this is an idea. I believe we can solve this with blockchain. Let me figure it out. Let me build a product, or let me find someone who will build a product with me. And then you go and you talk to a few people. If they are interested, they'll be like, hey, take this much Ethereum. I will invest this much. Take this much USDT. I will invest this much. And suddenly you are able to build this product without taking permission from anyone. Right? We saw like Flipkart did $1 billion. Uh, I think was worth $1 billion in 10 years. With Matic, Polygon is $10 billion worth company today. And if I'm not wrong, Matic was started in 2017 or 18, maybe, yeah, 2017, maybe a little
Something
earlier.
like that.
But yeah,
Correct.
like 5 years, they've grown to a $10 billion valuation. So that's the thing here. You do not ask for too many permissions in crypto industry. You go ahead and build what you want, and then figure out how this works. It's a great industry for anyone who likes to experiment. If you can experiment, even if you fail, it's not like it's the end of the world. In 6 months you can build another product and you can keep going. So that's massive opportunity for everyone who's interested. But you've got to be curious because industry is changing every day. You've got to learn, keep learning, keep learning.
Yeah,
As
for
long as
sure.
you do that,
Because
you
it's
might
new for
survive.
everyone, including you yourself, right?
Right? Yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely, it's new. We are all learning. I think I know people who have been in the industry since 2013, 2014. They are also learning in their own way.
makes sense, makes sense. Right. So, one question. that I specifically wanted to ask is the decentralized question. Cryptocurrency is largely, one of the biggest USP is decentralization. But two things. One is the Elon Musk effect. He tweets and stuff happens. And number two is the China effect, which is so a lot of mining is there in China, right? A lot of crypto mining is there in China, and they recently banned and mining is not happening there, etc., etc., which also led to price fall, reduction in supply, and all that. These two factors combined, can I? How can I say that it's decentralized when only these two factors, one individual and sort of government of a country is affecting it so much?
See, every technology or a market exists in an ecosystem. Okay. When we say decentralized, what we mean is the technology part of it or the control part of it. Elon Musk can do whatever he wants with his hundreds of billions of dollars. He cannot still control my Bitcoin, what I hold in my wallet, right? So that's the power of
Oh,
decentralization that we are
I
talking
see.
about, right?
Hmm.
What he can do is he can influence price, which is influence, right? Which he does with Tesla stock. Let's say, Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala goes on TV and says, I don't like, let's say, Tata Group. Tata Group, price will fall, of course. These are influences. We live in an ecosystem. So it's not like, we are isolated from everything and Bitcoin is the all and end all.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
yeah.
what we are looking at. Uh, that doesn't mean that they can affect Bitcoin's functioning or
I got it.
working. Neither can China. And minor concentration in China, this FUD has been demystified a lot of times. So these are some regular FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Right? We call it FUD in the industry. There is tons of it. They'll try to instill this, but these things have come up earlier and they've been debunked all the time. But even if you have minor concentration in one country, they can't control Bitcoin just like that. And even if they do, what they can do is they can just break the blockchain. If they break the blockchain, entire Bitcoin is worthless even for them. Right? So imagine that I am hacking gold from your house. Suddenly, when I reach my house with 1 kilo of gold, gold is worthless. I would be stupid to do that then. Right? That is what happens with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has a lot of fail safes that even we are understanding in the hindsight now. So a lot of
Hmm.
people are discovering these things, analyzing these things. Read both the sides of any argument. That's important.
Correct. For sure. Not just for crypto, but in life in general.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
know. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. What do you think is the challenge in the growth of crypto right now, other than probably government regulations and all that, etc.? What do you think is stopping from crypto
I
growth?
think we are going pretty well. We've achieved biggest of milestones that no one could ever think. If 1 year ago you would have told someone,
Yeah.
biggest bullish person in Bitcoin that one country will accept it as legal tender, they'll be like, it will take 3 4 years. It will take some time now. And today we have seen like 4 countries accept it. Now
Yeah.
countries are competing with each other. So all of these things just make me super bullish on the fundamentals of this industry in itself. Like this is going to stay and this is going to only grow in ways that we can't even imagine as of now. Adoption, regulation, awareness, all of these things take time. Yeah. So that's okay. In 1984, IBM president said there is market for only 10 computers in the world. That's what this guy thought. Only 10 computers in the world. Right? So this takes some time. It's okay. Let it go through that phase. Glad thing is we are every day when I hear these
Nice.
things, I feel we are early. As long as we are early today, why not?
Right. Awesome. So this is the last question of the podcast, and this is something I ask everybody, but I'll just change it a little bit. I usually ask three books, three podcasts, and life lessons that you would want to share. Here, I would say resources, three resources that you would want, curious crypto people to go through. Maybe podcast, maybe links, anything. And then the life lessons wala question is independent of crypto. That's just you as a person. And we did not discuss a lot, but the next episode, which will be around 80, 85th, I'll reinvite you there. We'll talk about worrying the person.
Sure.
But yeah,
Sure. So, books में, I think we have a Bible that's called the Bitcoin Standard. That's Bible for the entire industry.
Okay.
Whoever is in the industry cannot deny the value that this book holds. This is the foundation of everything crypto.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin Standard. It's written by an economics professor. It's amazing. Second book is called The Internet of Money, which is very important when you are starting a crypto startup or you are looking at the crypto landscape. To
Mm-hmm.
sort of build your career in, this helps a lot because you will, the futuristic stuff that we talked about today, Internet of Money covers it very, very well. That's why this guy called Andreas Antonopoulos. If you just search
Yeah.
Andreas Crypto, you will find. And The Internet of Money is the book. I think there is third book. There is a lot of competition, but there is this book called The Bullish Case for Bitcoin. I think that's something that everyone should read. That saves you from falling in the shitcoin. That's important from a trading investment perspective. Right? So these are three books, and I think podcast definitely Andreas Antonopoulos is the guy. He doesn't talk about prices. He doesn't care about all the coins and all the money that can be made. He's
Yeah.
straight up guy who will talk about technology. So that podcast is probably the podcast. Also, I would say, listen to specifically what Balaji says, has said in last three sort of months or so, right? We also did one CNBC episode with him where he explained exactly how Bitcoin can help India. His perspective on crypto is mind blowing. He understands how this is going to unfold very well. And third is there is a video by Nawal where he says why cryptocurrencies even exist. If you just search Nawal cryptocurrencies, you will find a 1 hour video on YouTube.
All
And
right.
this is where he discusses that after all of these years of his success, why has he decided to be in the crypto sector and nothing
Yeah,
else?
I remember.
Uh, which is what lays found. This is all foundation. Okay? This will not teach you trading or holding or pricing and all of these things. But if you have the foundation clear, you will not make a loss. That's very important when investing. Do not make a loss. Okay?
Got it. And three life lessons that you would want to share. Not related to crypto at all. Just
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. This is tough, but I feel the biggest life lesson that I've got is that you can work towards a lot of stuff, but that just becomes your measure. I want to look at what everyone else is doing and excel in that, but what is your uh, core purpose of life is something that
Uh,
you answer very young. Uh, that only happens by curiosity. So the first thing is,
be
curiosity
curious.
is the thing, that will liberate you. Without curiosity, you will be stuck in one box, and not have fun when you are challenged to move out of your comfort zone. So that's, I think, probably two lessons in
Yeah.
one. And
Yeah.
one important thing to know is that I may sound like a conspiracy theorist after a while with this, but too many things in our lives are rigged. We do not question them. We just do not question them. Right from food to how we live to what we do,
Yeah.
rigged against us. So what I think is it's okay. If I'm not doing that well, what I think is for our generation,
Yeah.
just being able to be healthy and calm minded when we are 60 is going to be a big feat. We may not be millionaire, billionaires, XYZ famous, but someone who is just healthy and calm, that's going to be the goal that everyone will want to achieve. So for us generation, that itself is big. If you are doing that, that itself makes uh, so much uh, difference in the world.
Awesome, guys. I've linked down Pareen's LinkedIn, Twitter, as well as Instagram handle. Go and give him a follow. He does a regular session on Clubhouse as well. I will link down his Clubhouse ID as well. Go and follow him. Thank you so much, Pareen, for doing this session. And I'm sure people who are curious about crypto will get a lot of perspective and excitement.
Thank you, Ayush. This was a really interesting set of questions that we had. I
Thank you.
hope your audience receives some value.
Thank you.